Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Loads of stuff to dive into today. Some very interesting scrim results between some of the pro teams last night, but also as Los Angeles Thieves prepare for the upcoming season, Envoy has a few words to say about his old team in OpTic and how exactly he prepares to take them down next year. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do. Tell this channel to reach more people. Please consider subscribing as well if you have not already. This other was pretty nasty from Envoy, to be honest. He's been playing a few tourneys and late night chals these last several days, most certainly. But, well, this also from the Hitch Ride side, I wanted to mention creative director now for OpTic. Honestly, I saw people talking about this on Reddit. I don't think Hitch gets enough credit within the community for what he's done for OpTic and Vision over many a year, but also just, you know, his love for Call of Duty in general, the throwback tournaments that go on every single time. This I thought was awesome. I haven't quite got the chance yet to watch the Eavesdrop podcast. There was, well, I think it was uploaded yesterday really between Hitch and Hector, but I'll definitely do that later today sometime. I'm sure it'll be a great discussion. And, yeah, just really cool to see this, to be honest, after all this time in OpTic. This got a load of traction on the timeline as well. Just really cool to see. Congratulations, most certainly, in this promotion, I suppose, in terms of, well, content creator to creative director. And that I'm sure is going to be awesome for their brand in general, but also given this merger that is currently going on. So thought I definitely want to mention that one. But let's talk about some scrims that were going on yesterday then. So Toronto Ultra, kind of surprising in a way that, well, I thought it was kind of surprising that some of these teams were actually streaming their practice. The likes of Los Angeles Guerrillas, also the Toronto Ultra guys. And I saw a few clips coming out that it seemed like the Ultra guys were kind of just taking the mick at times. They were just having a good time in general and not really taking things too serious, just kind of seeing how things go early on here in these Vanguard hardpoint scrims. But they really did have some good results here up against, well, especially Los Angeles Guerrillas, also Paris Legion we'll have a look at. Of course, look, the eliminations, it always catches me off guard here, because like Bance looks like to me he's 39 in 43, but he's not, because that's his like ping, so it's just like one of these things that, you know, the latency for some reason is here on the right hand side. But anyway, 150 to 250 was the first map. Wanted to give LAG their credit here for winning the bow cage, but after that it wasn't particularly pretty for them, as Toronto won pretty much every other map they played of scrims on the day. This was Tuscan 250 to 97, so they get put in the 100-point club, and these also, like, all the other results are here on CDL Scrim Intel, if you guys want to check the entire thing out with all the scoreboards and that type of stuff. But they go on to play Paris a little bit later on. This is the sum total of everything that Robbie puts on the Reddit. So this is the first couple of maps we looked at right here, and the rest of the series goes pretty comfortably to Ultra. Of course, like, these are scrims, early doors, but it is interesting to see how things are matching up, right? Because we expect Ultra to be probably, like, you know, still an S tier, very much top tier team going into next year, right up alongside FaZe, and LAG theoretically like somewhere in the top 6, top 4 ballpark would be a good result for them, I think, early on in the season, with some serious potential to upgrade beyond that further on. But of course, there's a lot of good teams in the league, and of course, Ultra then go on to play Paris a little bit later on, and to be fair, Paris have been solid. Every map pretty much goes the same way, but of course, they're not expected to be particularly good this year, and well, they get 4-0'd in this scrim set. Of course, early days doesn't really mean all that much, but thought it's interesting to look at regardless how some of these early maps are going, and what maps in general are being played in competitive, right? You've got Bocage, Tuscan, Gavutu, Desert Siege and Berlin generally being used here in the hardpoints, and maybe that'll change over time, right? And maybe some new maps will come into play, maybe some maps will disappear, but as I kind of touched on yesterday, even if they bring in great maps like London Dogs, they're going to put breakables in there, they're going to put doors in there, right? And it might not play the same, kind of how Crash, when they brought that back to Modern Warfare, was nowhere near as good as it was in the original COD 4, because it had all the doors, and like they added some new alleyways and stuff like this, so they added like one new segment of that map at the very least. Wanted to touch on this because later today we're going to talk about some more issues with the game, but thankfully this one is apparently being fixed sometime later this week. Of course, they don't say when it's actually going to come out, but as I say, a fix for the bomb defuse bug in Search and Destroy is scheduled for later this week. So I wish they could give us like a date or something. Like, I mean, it's kind of strange. They kind of knew about this bug for a long time now, since November the 7th. It's been a week since then, and now we get an announcement of an announcement of when it's going to be fixed in a way, which is kind of strange, but still, I guess it's better than nothing at all. And as Parasite, he's not particularly happy about this, right? This is great, but a game-breaking bug like this should have been fixed days ago. I appreciate the communication, but if more bugs like this arise, I'm hoping they're handled in a more timely manner, which, I mean, to be honest, like, is probably fair enough in Parasite, right, for given the amount of money that's going on to these tourneys. Not really sure why if Sledgehammer Games had this fix kind of ready to go, they couldn't just publish it slightly earlier than now, but yeah, I'm sure there's factors at play that we do not necessarily understand from the public-facing side. This also I thought was kind of funny, right? We looked at it formal, the potential of him going back to Halo yesterday, and Envoy's like, you know, I chill that, you tried once, you failed once. Now, well, Envoy and the Los Angeles Thieves are getting ready to go for next year, and there's been a lot of talk about this really lately from the COD League side. This I thought was kind of funny, actually, the early game meta, like you just plant the bomb, throw your gamma nades, even though, of course, the gentleman's agreements we discussed last night may put paid to some of the pros that maybe like the gamma nades in the game, and that may not last all that long. But the COD League were doing a video, and they've kind kind of done these Rostermania videos, right, where they look at a lot of the different pro teams, and all the guys kind of break down their perceptions on the roster, what it's going to take for these guys. And we've been talking the last couple of days really about players, the likes of Dashy, for example, that have a lot, a lot on the line this year, right, a lot to prove. Octane and Los Angeles Thieves in general is certainly one of those teams. There's kind of no more excuses for this squad. They, of course, had last year that wasn't ideal. They made all these changes. They've come into this year with pretty much the team they wanted, and, well, now they've got to actually perform and get the results there. Now, well, as I'll share at the end of this clip right here, there's some talk from Maven and Octane about, exactly what their expectations are for the year. Drazah and Envoy, how they think they're going to play alongside each other quite nicely. I thought it was quite interesting what Envoy said, how he thinks he plays better when he has a more aggressive SMG player alongside him. Kind of like how we can look back here in Black Ops 4, when he was actually doing some pretty good numbers over OpTic, when he had Jet Li on his team as a really aggressive SMG, and Havok after that on Gen G, we'll have a look at here. And kind of saying that maybe playing with Scump as a kind of slower, more slaying SMG actually hurt his playstyle to some degree, and if Drazah can play a bit quicker, that's going to help them out. But also right at the end of the video, where there was a nice little 5-second clip that they put right at the very end, where he says, yes, before even I joined OpTic, I was causing them trouble. I'm looking to do exactly the same thing again.
It's all scenarios. Sometimes I will run in front of him, and sometimes he will run in front of me. But Envoy's a very smart player. I think he plays very methodical. He's going to be more of the route taker.
I think I became a faster sub than I'm used to, and it kind of impacted my play, but I think I excel when I have someone that's a bit faster in front of me. Drazah being a bit faster than me is a perfect scenario for this coming season.
If they can figure that out, the SMG role, this team could be a contender without question.
This is a roster that I'm very, very happy with, and I think that is definitely a championship contender.
It's been almost 3 years of me not winning. I definitely want to get back on board for that, and also just making a Sunday. I didn't make a whole Sunday last year.
I don't want seconds. I don't want third. I won't call anything a success unless we win at least once.
I know how tough it is to win nowadays, but I expect these guys to be there on Championship Sunday.
You better be in some finals, and you better play everyone tough and have a shot to win tournaments.
I'm always going to strive to be that team, the one that everyone else is scared of. Listen, OpTic's going to feel my impact. They felt it when I wasn't there, and I'm going to assure they feel it again.
So just to have a look back at the history here from the Black Ops 4 days. So of course, Envoy really came back into the scene in Black Ops 4. He did play back in Advanced Warfare, like way back in the day, and I think he lost to OpTic maybe one time, got 3-0'd by the Dynasty. But of course, in Black Ops 4 5v5, things were a bit different. The OpTic team had just won the Las Vegas event in 2018, well, it was technically the 2019 Open, but it was actually done in December 2018 for the 2019 season. But this Midnight Esports team of it was Brack, Jet Li, Parzelion, Lamagod, and Envoy. And as you can see right here, they dominated the LCQ. They come into the very first Pro League match and they 3-0 OpTic Gaming. Like, this was quite the result, quite the upset at the time. And then Midnight completely breaks down and the chaos ensues. You guys can probably find my old videos of that, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably awful. But if you really wanted to find them, you probably could, about what was going on at the time. But all the guys on Midnight found themselves in a really difficult spot, pretty much with the exception of Envoy. He found himself on a good team with Major Maniak, Nagafin, Havok, and Morks. And of course, this was the Gen G team, coached by Joey Nubsy. And they had some really good results at Anaheim, especially at the playoffs right in Miami. They came second at both of these events, and they had some really good results. Of course, the World Championship was absolutely terrible, but definitely a very solid team that year, and they beat a lot of great teams throughout the course of it, right? I'm pretty sure their record as Gen G over OpTic that season was 3-1, so I think Envoy was 4-1 against OpTic during Black Ops 4, and then of course going into Modern Warfare, he joined Chicago Huntsmen, which effectively was the OpTic team of the day, like with OpTic Gaming Los Angeles being a bit of an outlier that year, and then of course goes on to OpTic Chicago as well. So kind of interesting what Envoy is saying, right? How before he was on OpTic, he was causing them some serious issues, has a great record against them in his entire career, against Scump and Co, and now he's looking to do exactly the same thing against them. Of course, we know there's no necessarily bad blood between the players, but all of these guys, right, and they talked also in that video about the Los Angeles derby, right, between Slasher and Los Angeles Guerrillas and the Los Angeles Thieves guys. All these guys want to prove that, a team that dropped them made a bad decision, and that they're better than that team, and it's going to light a fire in these guys regardless. So I think that this Envoy versus OpTic storyline is certainly an exciting one, even though with all the respect I'm sure that the green will still have for Envoy, but whether that will last if Envoy gets one up on them this season, I suppose that remains to be seen. But I thought it was nice to look back at regardless, and this is really the thing for Los Angeles Thieves. There's really no excuses this year. As I say, last year was kind of the first foray in for LA Thieves, at least to the CDL era, and as Nadeshot says right here, literally beat Drazah in a 1v1 yesterday on my first day on Vanguard, still got the whole team leaving me on red. So you can see the rest of the squad right here, and he's saying, come on bro, extra push, this could be the difference, trying to grind. And Nadeshot's trying to play the game with these guys. And, you know, the rest of the team, they're just sitting back and relaxing, not really playing too much of the game. So Nature's certainly going to be getting on them for this one, especially with some clips like this. But, yeah, it's kind of interesting, right, when your CEO of your actual organization is like a former Call of Duty Pro player that also likes to play the game a fair bit. You're not going to get away with anything at all, right, in terms of, you know, not putting in the time that you need to be putting in. So Nature, I'm sure, is going to be on these guys this year. Not happy with their results last year, I'm sure. And, well, certainly pressure on to prove him right, at least in terms of making this decision with how this roster has gone. This I thought was also kind of funny from Scump's side because me and Shotty need 2 Warzone creators for the 40k tournament on Monday. Now, there was kind of this, there was a tournament that went on a couple of days ago. There's meant to be 2 pro players, 2 Warzone pros. Now, Envoy effectively for that tournament, he picked up, maybe he picked up like Hamza Frosty or something, that effectively just challenges players. They're like very close to the pro scene, but like technically, I guess they played Warzone or something, so they maybe could be counted as Warzone pros. So this is basically what Envoy did, and as Hitch says, just put a deal on Envoy, pick up 2 challenger players, and you know, Scump and I have a funny little back and forth about it, but maybe that is the play, right, to win these tourneys right now. This, of course, exactly what Simp and aBeZy are doing when they're picking up Noobs, who actually is a Warzone pro, but Rated, who, of course, you know, Call of Duty Pro for a very long period of time, has actually looked really good early doors here in Vanguard, playing with Simp and aBeZy in a very similar tourney. Well, this is the same tourney, right, this 40k tourney here on Monday, so looking forward to seeing how this one goes down. Me and aBeZy have loved each other for years, finally pulling the trigger on falling in love. Maybe he's going to take each other away from Simp, who really knows. This I thought was just funny for the TacticalRab Academy, right, with the drama we talked about yesterday, Bird versus Dashy. This is the way to settle it. You've got, you know, Rust 1 versus 1, Modern Warfare 2, and it's kind of funny, actually, Ben is winning and Dashy's losing in this clip. Obviously separate screenshots, but, you know, I just thought it was kind of funny little touch I did. And just to finish off with this, I was going to mention this yesterday, but it's actually more applicable today, because it actually is 9 years ago today, on the 13th of November 2012, when Black Ops 2 officially came out. And, yeah, what a legendary game all across the board. Zombies was fantastic. The campaign was pretty fun, but, yeah, multiplayer from all perspectives, pubs, competitive, was just beautiful. League play, like, yeah, definitely reminisce about this game. Of course, playing it on Plutonium during the off-season was a lot of good fun as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. I looks like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you very much as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.